Guess what? We're not pre-recorded tonight.
I know we aren't, guys. Hey there, guys. What's up? How you doing?
And we're a trio tonight. We got Wendy back.
I know we have our buddy in town.
I should show.
That looks like the river that is in my hometown before the hurricane.
Yeah, North Carolina, folks. We'll be talking about emergency preparedness tonight.
We are going to
considering recent events over the last few days or, several weeks. This is something we've been wanting to touch on and we're doing tonight. And look who's already on. Maya says hello.
Hi, Maya.
Hello.
And I have missed you all so much with several purple hearts. And Maya says, hello, Wendy. Awesomeness. All right, sharing is caring time, folks. You all sharing?
Working on it.
Holy cow, they're hopping on quick tonight. Yeah. Look at this. We even got Joy in the house.
No, it's crazy, right? We've got a lot of stuff.
Y'all tell me. Were y'all like just, oh, she's up watching Tyson.
Oh.
Oh, yeah.
Now, that's live right now? We got to do updates on who won because I want
to know what though? I just think that's just I can't even watch that. I just think that it's just so messed up. Dan was like, that is like a real life Rocky movie right there.
Oh God, yeah.
I don't want to watch it. It makes me kind of mad that guy.
Joyce says just ended. I don't care about the fight. I'm not into boxing, but damn it, I want to see young guy take on Tyson. I mean, we can find out who won.
But you know what though? I just feel like, seriously, dude, why the heck is that guy doing this stuff?
I don't know, but I've never been into boxing, but even I'm interested in this. Joya, let us know who won and who kicked ass.
Right.
I want to know. The world must know.
And
all right, sharing's caring.
And did he have his gummy ears on sale at the concession stand?
Oh God, yeah. Remember when he did that to Evander Holyfield? That was a bunch of years ago.
The gummy ears with CBD in them.
Yeah.
He tried to put on what's called a pot festival or something like that over in Desert Hot Springs, about 25 minutes from my house. It didn't really go anywhere, but he bought a chunk of land for that and stuff.
Did anything happen with it?
Did what?
Did people actually show up?
Not that many.
Like 5 people?
I don't know how well it went.
They'd have to be really motivated. Why would they do that when they can just stay home and do that?
You're kidding. Oh.
Did you test? Did we see if everything is, if all the streams are live?
I'm doing that right now. I'm getting ready to share. I'm just looking for
share and care.
Where's the pages? Dang it. Facebook changed its layout again. Oh, come on. Feeds. I have 52 friends online apparently right now. There we go. And are you checking Dancing Bear?
Yeah, I'm checking right now.
Yeah, we're live in Elk Rack.
We're live on Dancing Bear. I'm going to share this right now.
Our live for this week's episode of Late Night. Shared. Got it. Okay, 6 minutes and 4 seconds to go. All right, I'm going to go ahead and Google. I'm going to see who won the Tyson fight. Who's he boxing? Yeah, I'm ignorant. I don't know who your ignorance to him. I'm looking it up. Live, he's boxing Jake Paul. God, I should remember that. And Jake Paul versus Mike Tyson live updates, Netflix boxing card results. Jake Paul wins fight against Mike Tyson by unanimous decision.
What? Well, Mike Tyson is pretty old.
The guy's like what? 80, 90?
He's not.
Oh, Joyce says he's a YouTube celebrity turned boxer. Okay, Jake Paul won. My hubby is upset with the fight. Wow, from Maya. The question is, how well did Mike Tyson put up a fight against him?
right. Yeah, Mike Tyson is 58.
No, yeah, that's a Rocky movie.
That's pretty old for a boxer.
Oh, that's ancient. I knew a guy who was a bronc rider at 59. And he was riding broncs for PRCA, and I was like, dude, yeah, he didn't last but like a year. Joyce says first 2 rounds were good. I wonder, did Mike Tyson tire out or what?
He had too many gummies before the fight.
Kidding.
Oh my goodness.
Not that I'm on a gummy thing or anything.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's. I don't see how any. I don't know. I just didn't want to watch it. I don't want to watch someone get beat up. That just, to me, I don't feel like that's not my. I don't want to watch that.
Yeah. I'm looking at some of the comments on X. One person says, funny to see people upset for watching the fight. What did you expect? I genuinely believe I could have beat Tyson with that performance put on today. No. Another person from X says, should have fought the way he did in the 1990s. Then he surely would have won. Instead, he chose to fight in the style of an old man way past his prime. Big mistake. It's nothing about publicity stunt anyway.
Yeah.
Let's see. Maya says, hubby said the first round was good. He should have been knocked out after all that. And they both got paid.
Yeah. Well.
This is the first time we've ever talked about ongoing sporting events during the show.
I know, right?
This is a first. And we're doing that. We're looking at a pretty creek.
That's, remember how I described the river in my town that like totally went out of control? That's what it normally looks like. That's about the size it is.
Got it.
Whoa. I need a fatter head.
Maya says, glad I didn't watch. LOL.
You and me. No, I think I'm going to go get. I'm really cold. I'm feeling like so chilly just sitting by this window.
Yeah. What sporting events do you watch, Svea?
College football. Go ASU.
Of course. How about you, Wendy?
We get jackets.
I watch football, NFL football. I watch rugby. And during the Winter Olympics, my favorite sport is, do you remember?
Yes, curling.
Yes.
No, you're gonna forget that. I watch whitewater rodeo, slalom, regular, rodeo, bull riding, all that stuff. My absolute favorite sport is team pinning.
Yeah.
And I really don't watch the footballs or the baseballs or the basketballs.
I don't watch the baseballs. I used to.
We're on the, we're cruising the line here to make a crude joke. Anyway.
I'm trying to be nice tonight.
I know, rated G show. Maya says some NFL football. Like the only thing I watch local, I'll watch what's called the Bell game between Indio High School and Coachella Valley High School because that's a rivalry dating back over 50 years.
Oh, I get the rivalries, man.
NSU.
You know what though? Like our school's finally doing good for a change. My university, our football team is like, I think in our division we're actually like, I think tied for like second or third place, which is like unheard of. And we just moved from Pac-10, we moved to Big 12. Which is
2 packed, so you got more room with the big one.
Yeah.
I don't know where to go with that.
Nobody, like people hate, like all the schools don't like the Pac-10 anymore because they're not getting enough, money from the networks.
Got it. All right, 20 seconds, 9 seconds, 8 seconds. Y'all ready for countdown? We want to take turns on this one?
Yes.
All right. Starting with, we'll go me, Svea, Wendy, I guess. 10.
9.
8.
7.
6.
Yeah, right.
5.
5.
3.
2.
1.
Showtime! It's time for Late Night Craft Talk with hosts Svea Yang and James Hermes.
And special co-host Wendy Hodge.
Let's get the fun started. It's time to start the show.
Who was dancing?
I was trying to get our overlay on.
And there it is.
There it is.
Right there. Svea, make me dizzy.
Okay, well.
There you go. Now I'm going to throw up. Probably from too many cheese puffs.
Please do not throw up because I'm under you.
That would be really funny.
That's why I'm wearing a hard hat.
Are you feeling light?
Headed?
Do you feel an ethereal light coming down on you?
Don't go towards the light.
Don't go toward the light, Wendy. There's a police helicopter shining down on you now.
You're like, don't look at the light. Don't look at the light.
Look at
And then you see me going, ooh, as I get sucked up into the spaceship.
So it's a normal Friday night.
Yeah.
Basically.
I still want to make an inappropriate joke again. Involving probes. Anyway.
Welcome, everybody. Welcome to our show, Late Night Craft Talk. We do the show every Friday night. We try to be live as many times as we can, but sometimes things happen where we can't be, so we usually throw in a pre-record. But we're here live right now, so make sure to smash. Okay, that's the new word. Smash the like button.
Smash that share button.
Smash it.
Screen.
Like and subscribe our Facebook channel, our Facebook pages, our YouTube channels, our Instagram pages or
Twitch.
accounts, and our Twitch accounts. I didn't finish telling everyone. And
Do
we have
anybody from Twitch? Yeah, we do.
Dancing Bear has a Facebook group and also a Twitter account /X account. So feel free to follow us on all of the different social media type places, and you'll get notified anytime we have a live or anytime we have fun stuff going on.
Gotcha.
So, yes, so we are here to do this show. We've been doing the show since the pandemic, so we always like to try to introduce ideas or talk about different things. You know, sometimes we talk about really fun things, and sometimes we talk about things that are a little more personal or things that we feel like are important to talk about. Like, for example, this is going to be one of those shows, so we'll try not to make it too heavy, but we do feel that sometimes we want to say, hey, there's some important topics that we want to bring up with everyone so that, you know, just to kind of bring everyone, just to remind everyone of just safety and different things to take care of in their lives that we feel are a little important. So, hey, James, what's been going on with Elk Traders?
Well, let me get the address on them right quick. So we're live. Let me address last week before we move on to that one. Okay. So yeah, we weren't live 2 weeks ago. We did a replay of one of our Halloween specials. I was out of town at a powwow. Svea was out of town at a powwow. And then last Friday we were supposed to come on with our show with a potpourri, a mixture of subjects. A couple hours before the show, we had to change it. There was a little family thing, nothing big, but it was enough that it deserved some. It took a lot of attention that night, and sometimes we've been doing the show. It's happened a couple times. We've been doing this long enough. It's inevitable. It's going to happen. So we had to take care of that last week. And so, but the good news is here we are. And as far as elk rack, wow. Our last full show we know of so far, the weekend, our last powwow of the year was Ridgecrest 2 weeks ago. We got some fans in Ridgecrest. They came up and go, we watch you. They mostly watch us like, a couple days later, not going to stay up on Friday night because, they're cool. They're responsible. But they're coming up going, we watch you. I was like, that's awesome. And one person go over and go, like said something from old joke from the show, went, you watch the show. Yeah. So Ridgecrest, thank you for the warm turnout. That was awesome. And it was a fun show. It was windy, not Wendy, but windy. Got to clarify, it was like napping and napping. Yeah, of course. So a lot of fun on that one. Otherwise, we are still showing you can catch us at Palm Springs Village Fest on Thursdays. And we are always update our Instagram and Facebook. And that is what's been going on. Otherwise, get ready for the fun stuff of Thanksgiving. I already got Christmas orders coming in, and I love when people get creative with orders. I got a couple right now that are really cool. Anyway, that's what's going on with us. What's going on with Dancing Bear?
Well, so 2 weeks ago, we were at Red Mountain Powwow, and we actually had an interesting thing happen. We were able to teach, I got to teach a beaded ornament class for the Salt River Pima community on Monday nights after the powwow. So that was kind of a fun thing I got to do for the beading circle. A lot of fun. And what was interesting is I told them, hey, we have a Friday night show. And they're like, you do? I said, yeah, do you ever like look at anything that's on our Facebook or YouTube or anything? No. I'm like, do you ever look at our YouTube, Facebook, look at our Facebook page? Is it on there? I was like, yes. Really? I'm like, yes. Watch it. So
Kidding.
I hope that some of the people that were in that class are watching it tonight or watching it after. So welcome. Like and subscribe.
There you go.
So we have been we've gotten in some new fabrics. I've been just too busy to go on the weekly shows that I want to do. I do like to do the weeklies. I just haven't done. Just had so many things going on at home, so many things going down in the store, the things that I've been trying to take care of. Just there's been so much going on that it has been craziness. So we haven't been doing the lives every Thursday, which I should be doing. But I know James is like, I miss it. I miss harassing you while you're online.
I love trolling you on Thursdays as I'm loading the car for Palm Springs.
It's terribleness, but yeah. So yeah, we've just been so busy with everything, just powwow to powwow, and then just working on all kinds of stuff. We've been trying all the different projects we're trying to get done at the store. So but yeah, so definitely we have a lot of new products that we're getting in, and then we're already at Thanksgiving practically. So do keep an eye out on our store. We're going to be we have our Thanksgiving kind of special promotion that we do for the weekend because it's our anniversary of our store opening, Thanksgiving weekend. So we actually do have a special promotion that we do at our store. So that's something to keep an eye out for, or it's on our website. I haven't decided yet. We'll see. But more information coming soon.
Got it.
Okay.
Should I ask what's going on with Wendy Hodge International Trading Partners and Associates Incorporated?
Things are going well. Been busy. Little man has finally gotten all his stitches out.
Oh yeah. Is he
Look,
okay?
can you show Colonel Mustard? We can't pick him up. That's right.
Come here. He's like, wait, what? You want me over here? Usually you're told he doesn't like the hat.
Hey, Curtis Schoenberg is in the house.
I would think he wouldn't like the hat as of right now, considering he has a shaved head.
I know, right? He does not. Shaved head, shaved back of his neck. This little ear is wonky still.
Oh,
But there he is.
Guy.
He's like, I don't know.
Oh, poor little baby.
Yeah. Because it went, it was like about, geez. Hi. It was about a 6-7 inch scar, which on, a dog his size was huge.
Yeah.
And very traumatic. We're hoping that it doesn't come back again. Because otherwise they keep cutting parts out. I'll be able to show you to him in my hand. Here, he'll be smaller than Princess Leia.
Yeah, I know. I've had my share of doggies that need to have surgeries to remove like fatty tumors in their lives. It's not fun dealing with those kind of surgeries.
Yeah.
So I know.
Should I go ahead and say what his condition is?
Sure.
So I can pronounce it.
You're the smarty smart guy.
Chronic pyrogranulonitis It was enough that Google correctly got it, but chronic pyrogranulomatosis paniculitis.
Yeah.
It's a mouthful, which is basically an inflammatory autoimmune disease for the dogs with chronic subcutaneous lesion forming. There's lesions in there, but it creates a benign tumor.
Yeah, because the vets thought they were going to go in, and it was about the size, a little bit bigger than a quarter, but about this. That's how big the lump was. That's what they thought they were going to remove. And when I went and picked him up, his whole top of his head down to his neck, almost to his shoulders, was a zipper. And I'm like, wow.
Oh my God. Yeah.
Things we do for our little furry friends.
Mm-hmm.
Got it.
I know. Like I had my Sheltie Belle. She actually had. I guess I didn't know this about Shelties before we had our first Sheltie, but apparently they are notoriously famous for having fatty tumors, benign fatty tumors. And I think over the course of Belle, my second Sheltie's life, I probably had like 5 or 6 benign tumors removed from her. And they were like big old, like lumpy bumpies that we removed from her. They were like on the back, like she would have this huge like ball on like her arm or like on her back or on her side. And they were huge. They were like just huge. One time I removed a huge one on her back. And it was this big, like it was all of her whole back. And guess what was inside it? Her microchip that was put in her back.
I forgot to ask them if they left that in there.
They want to have them boop, 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 boop.
If you can charge a credit card you can write a credit card with your watch. Why not run a credit card with your dog?
All right.
But yeah, they actually removed it. I'm like, just for giggles, just scan her. And they scanned her and it wasn't in her anymore.
I'm glad you said that. I'm going to have to ask them about that next week.
You may want to try. Okay. So do we want to talk about our topic?
Yeah. We're going to do the segue?
Okay. So do you want me to start the segue?
I got a segue already made.
Oh, you have a segue? Okay.
I told you about it earlier. I had a cool segue. Did you want to do your segue?
Go for James.
I have a segue too, but it's kind of hard to balance on.
Got it. Well, Svea, I mean, I could do your segue or my segue.
Okay, we'll do paper, rock, scissors. Paper, rock, scissors. Okay, paper, rock, scissors. Okay.
All this time on it.
Right, no. Face me. No, face me. Okay. Paper, rock, scissors. Tell us when, Wendy.
Go.
Rock smashes scissors.
Oh, okay. All right. Okay.
Should I talk about the pack rafting thing real quick?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. Folks, so, we talked about how I got the pack raft and I'm going to do this thing, but with that, and I've also talked about the mountain bike. A few weeks ago, I learned about this thing called bike packing. And this is a real thing. This is not me, but this is an example of the mountain bike on the front of the pack raft. So I've been experimenting with it and spending money. Thank you, freaking REI. They had to open up 20 minutes for my house. At least I'm getting a good dividend. But so I've been experimenting with bike rafting, and the pack raft with my life jacket. You can see there on the back rack of the mountain bike.
Question.
Yes.
Are you sure it isn't supposed to be pack rat, not pack raft?
No, it's pack rafting.
Pack rat.
I'm not collecting a bunch of stuff. It's biking with a raft.
No.
Are you sure it's not pack rat?
It looks pretty pack ratty on the back of that bike there.
I know.
Yeah, I got to give you that one. That's all the camping gear and stuff for a multi-day trip. Definitely. It's a lot of money there. Anyway, so the raft's on the bike, and here is the bike on the raft, which just makes it all the weirder. And I'm going to use that, and I'm launching actually Thanksgiving morning down the Colorado River for a 4-day trip. Hopefully not a 3-day or a 5-day, because that would mean something went bad or I hit a sewing needle or something with the raft. So doing that, and I've actually got asked to do a presentation on it, and here's me visiting a scout troop talking about bike rafting. It was something. So, want to give an update on that one? It's going to be a one interesting adventure in a couple weeks, and we'll be definitely sharing some good photos. Otherwise, segue. We have some cool, because we're doing emergency preparedness tonight. We're going to get you in the mood, looking at some fun memes before we tackle this important subject, just to get you thinking. So we have, of course, optimist half full, pessimist half empty, and a prepper with 7,035 gallons of reserve.
You know what?
There always has to be a prepper thing when you do the emergency preparedness. Then we have, the fun, do whatever it takes to fill the freezer. I've seen actually people do that on one res I had to visit. And in Texas. That's a deer.
Okay. I was like, what? I was like, wait, what is that?
Yeah.
It's a deer.
Okay.
Okay. You sell the hides. Bug out bag all set. And it gets better. Okay, now I'm prepared for the apocalypse. That would have been a 2020 dream right there.
Oh, yeah.
I think we got a couple more left, folks. We have when the electricity goes out and you have the only phone charger.
Nice.
Only portable phone charger. And then we go to, and they called me crazy.
Mm-hmm.
You know what that is? A bunch of water with a house with a mound around it, so the floodwaters can't get to it. Definitely appropriate for now. And then we have, of course, our segue one. It doesn't matter how many resources you have. If you don't know how to use them, it will never be enough. Practice using emergency preparedness supplies. Hence, brings us into tonight's subject, emergency preparedness.
Yeah.
And should we talk just briefly why we want to do this and what's in it while we bring it in?
Okay. So, Wendy, would you like to start since you have a first reason?
Okay. Well, I was into September. I was supposed to go back with my son, and we were going to visit my folks in Western North Carolina. Well, if anybody got to see anything other than world news, we got hit by a hurricane in the Blue Ridge Mountains of North Carolina. We had to cancel our trip because all the roads in Western North Carolina were considered closed. And either landslides, trees, power lines, or landslides under the road where it pulled the dirt out from under the road into the river. And it looked like the road was fine, but there was nothing supporting it. So we canceled our plans because we were going to fly in the day after the hurricane hit. They didn't think it was going to be a hurricane, just a big rainstorm. Couldn't get a hold of my folks for 2 days. And luckily, my mom had consumer cellular because she was able to get out. And none of my other friends or family that had Verizon could call, or AT&T could call out.
Really?
So, yeah. Even one of my high school friends, she sent out numerous text messages to her friends and family outside of the state, and none of them got through. And she had Verizon, or has Verizon. So may want to look at having somebody you can reach out of an area if you're in an area of some kind of natural disaster that you can reach, that can reach back, because my mom could call me on her cell phone, and I told her, I said, give me numbers of the people, because there was no infrastructure whatsoever when that hurricane hit. All the power went out for the whole western side of the state. There was no water. There was no internet. Because the cell towers went down. So, there was no cell. There was no regular phone. Even the people there didn't know what was going on. So I told her I would be the point of contact. I said, because I can look and see what's going on there. So I had their news, TV news, streaming on my TV. I had their radio station streaming on my computer. So I knew what was going on, what kind of emergency responses there were, because it hit so hard and fast that nobody, by the time they got the word to evacuate, the water was already waist deep, and people had to climb on their roofs.
Wow.
And unfortunately, some people did not get on their roofs, or they got swept away with their house on the roof. It was really bad. So, I would suggest having a point of contact outside of your area, because I could coordinate and call other family members. I actually set up a Facebook page for the family outside of the state. So that way I could just update them on the Facebook page instead of either calling or texting people to let them know how they were doing. About 3 weeks into it, a little over 3 weeks, they finally got electricity on Saturday, and then running water on Sunday. But the only problem is the water is not potable because it came down in a reservoir, and there's so much sediment and silt in the reservoir, they can't run it through the filtration center. So they've got running water, but the only thing they're supposed to do with it is flush toilets. They can't use it for cooking, washing dishes, washing themselves, drinking, etc. So when they talk about having an emergency supply set up somewhere, either in a metal trash can, or in a room or closet, it's a very good idea, because I didn't know this until this happened. The weather, they had gotten rain Wednesday, Thursday, and then the hurricane hit Friday. Wednesday, the National Weather Service told them, there's going to be a lot of rain, power could go out, so have enough water and food for 3 days. They couldn't get, nobody in the county, nobody in Asheville could get gas, because there was only one gas station in the whole area open, because there was no electricity. What does gas stations run on? Electricity. So if you had a generator and you didn't have gas for your generator, you were out of luck. If you didn't have enough, and you're not going to have 3 weeks of water set up. So that's why, you got to pay attention. I was telling them where the rescue centers were, where what they call care centers were set up, which were like mostly in supermarket parking lots or churches, where you could go get food, where you could go get water, because people were donating, Red Cross, National Guard, etc. But the National Weather Service came out and told them 3 days of water and food. Evacuation orders don't come from the National Weather Service. They come from your state or your county government. And by the time they figured out it was an evacuation event, like I said, most people couldn't get the signal and didn't know to evacuate. So that was, pretty hard. And I would just, they would call me every night, and I'd tell them, okay, here's the news. Here's what they're doing. Here's where you can go. This gas station is open. They were on curfew from like 7 to 7. Here's where you can go on curfew. They had trying to get them out, because they have 3 ways out of where they live, all across that. Have bridges that go across that river. 2 of the 3 bridges were out. And so I had to tell my folks, okay, here's how you can go. Here's where you can go. And they're like, this is kind of silly that we're in the state, but we can't get the information. You have to get it. I'm like, well, at least I'm here to get it. We didn't come there. We didn't continue our flight and get stuck up there with you guys. So, sometimes it's better to be out on the outside. You feel helpless, but you are actually providing a service, because then they could go and tell their neighbors where to go get food, where to go get water, where the distribution sites were, where the medical sites were, what gas stations were opening up, what banks were opening up, because there was no electricity. Everything was cash. So, that's another tip is, you may want to have some cash on hand. Keep your gas. I keep my gas tank no less than half full at any time, because, we live in earthquake country and electricity can go out. But, have money for gas. It's got to be cash if they can, if they can route it, or if they have a tanker pull up and they have gas, distributing gas that way. Luckily, my folks had enough cash at the time, but then they started running low because 3 weeks.
Yeah.
So, they were planning just, for emergency money, but they were running low. Well, you can't go to the ATM, no electricity. It's amazing what you can't do without electricity. you know, and people couldn't even call 911 because there were no phones, no home phone service, no cell phone service for a number of days, no internet.
Wow. Wow.
So they were all sitting there going, what's going on? They didn't know how widespread it was. They didn't know how bad it was until about 4 days later when they finally started getting services in there and people, and then it was just inundated. For 2 weeks, they had helicopters daily because up in the mountains where they were at, some of the electrical poles, they had to lift in by helicopter because of the mountains that they were on to get power back on.
Wow. That's crazy.
Yeah, it was nuts. So, you know, it's the big things are, you know, because they tell us that here, you know, for earthquakes, you know, have enough food and water for 3 days you know, for each person in the house. Well, you know, depending on how bad it is or where it is, because all their power lines went down, all their poles went down, the substations got flooded or damaged by stuff coming down the river. So they had to replace all that infrastructure. They were thrown back to the Stone Age. And it could, you know, I've been through several big earthquakes here and we weren't that bad, but still, you never know what could happen. I mean, when was the last time we had a hurricane come through until, what was it, this past summer?
Yeah, August 23.
Yeah. So, you know, with the ocean waters warming up, the possibility exists that we could be having more hurricanes coming up the Southern California coast. So we've got to be prepared for everything. Have food, have cash, get a generator, either solar or gas. If you get a gas one, make sure you got enough gas, you know, to run it for, you know, a few days. Because like my dad had gas set aside for their generator. But again, nobody thought power would be out for 3 weeks, you know, for that long, for a week.
Mm-hmm.
And so he had to start running the generator like 4 hours in the morning and 4 hours in the evening, trying to keep the refrigerator and the freezer cool.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, get a lot of non-refrigeratable items. You know, yeah, non-perishable. Thank you. Items. And, you know, like a shortwave radio or a battery operated radio. So if everything does go down, like happened in there, you know, where my folks live, you can get some kind of word of what's going on, because they didn't even have a battery operated radio to listen to. So to find out, you know, what roads were open, what bridges were good, what they were doing about power, gas, food, water, that kind of stuff.
I think if you're cool with it, can we break this down and see what people can learn from the experience you've had helping your parents on this one? Because we're dealing with real life and do that. You cool with that, Svea?
Yeah.
I'm actually, while we were talking, I brought it up and I'll have to throw out a link, and I might refer to this a little bit, but FEMA's actually got, let me make sure it's FEMA. FEMA's actually got a basic preparedness checklist. And it talks about, and you know, the process is still the same as far as having supplies ready, but it talks about natural disasters being floods, hurricanes, thunder and lightning storms. There has been, it's more local, you know, it's definitely more local, not widespread after like something like Helene for thunderstorms and lightning, tornadoes. Look at there's some place that gets devastated by tornadoes, winter storms, and extreme cold. Extreme heat, earthquakes, volcanoes. It can happen.
Right.
Landslides, of course, tsunamis, which is legit, fires, wildfires, and even some of the others that may be more unconventional would be hazardous materials incidents, which is technological hazards.
Yeah.
Nuclear power plants. We almost had that with San Onofre. And then other emergencies to consider on this one is still explosions, and God help us, biological threats,
right.
Nuclear blasts, chemical threats, and radiological dispersion device, which is RDDs. That's what we're living in, but it comes down to still having the supplies to be independent within
those few days. So those are the things that kind of think about. We don't want to make anybody paranoid, but if you have a basic plan,
Yeah.
to be able to follow on this one, and obviously, you know, test your generator, test your gas on
Right.
that one. Your dad had some of the stuff there, having
Yeah,
those
you need to
non-perishable foods.
rotate it out. Yeah. Rotate it out, you know, because like, you know, it's
Yeah.
like I told my parents, I said, you know, did you put stickers on it? And they said, no. I said, take a piece of masking tape or duct tape or whatever and write down the date that you put that, because they keep it down in their basement, which is nice and cool.
Yeah, first in, first out.
Yeah, I said, you know, when it starts getting close, put that in the vehicle and then run to the gas station and get some more. It's like with water. They always tell you have enough water, excuse me, for 3 days for each person in your house, 1 gallon per person per day in your house. What they don't mention really in that mix is water to flush your toilets with, because they had no water to flush toilets with, except luckily my folks have rain barrels off their hay shed. And so they were using that, but they got down to 1 barrel, and then they brought, then I'm not sure if it was FEMA, Red Cross, who it was, but they started bringing big tankers in of non-potable water, and people could go with 5-gallon buckets and fill those up and take them back home to flush their toilets with. Because you might want to think about, you know, hauling that up, and if you live in an apartment,
Ooh, yeah.
you might want to think about starting to haul that up and have a toilet flushing water supply as well up in your apartment, because no electricity, your elevator's not going to work, and you have to hump them all the way up those stairs.
Yeah.
So, you know, you got potable and non-potable water, flushing and non-flushing water. So
It's good to go by. You got to figure is how much water to actually, you know, to put a reserve for emergencies. General wilderness trekking that we talk, you know, I've talked about is 1 gallon per person per day. That
Right.
can vary. If you're in the summer, it's a heat, you're going to be drinking more like 1.5 gallons, 2 gallons of water. And then there's still the cooking needs
right.
to keep it potable if you do that. I remember we had that ready during the Big Bear Landers quake in 1992.
Right.
It struck in June, and luckily electricity came back on, but we were ready to dig into that 5-day water supply. But, you know, I'm more of a fan of keeping 5 days worth of supplies, because look at Hurricane Katrina.
Right.
3 days was not going to last you after that. That was so widespread, and so much happened after that with New Orleans.
Right.
And so,
Also, another ways that an easy way to store water is that I read somewhere that there was one grandma that had told their niece or their grandchildren that, you know, those mason jars, just
Mhm.
fill them with water and put them in your pantry.
Yeah.
Just
Exactly.
fill just water. It doesn't even have to, don't even worry. The thing is, if the water is expired, you can use it to wash dishes. You can use it to flush toilets. You can use it to flush whatever, you know. So it doesn't even have to be like, and then if it's older water, you can always boil it and like clean it. You know, when you boil it, it cleans it. You can drink it then. So anyway.
it does, but sometimes, you know, if you have a murky source, you can still have particulates in it. I mean, I keep a water filter, but, you know, it's for camping. It's for group use, which will totally work for an emergency situation because it does what it does. And there's ways to purify water. Even if you have a source that's questionable, if you can still filter it and run it through purification, be careful with bleach. You're going to really want to, you know, but it's going to leave that flavor. But iodine, but a lot of people are getting more and more people are getting allergic to iodine. But there's still like aqua mirror treatments. There's actually things you can get that will actually purify water. And should probably explain the difference between purify and filter. Filtering gets rid of things like particulates, bacteria that's in the water, and some other particulates that goes down to about 0.03 microns. But when you purify, you're getting rid of even smaller particles like, say, viruses, where you won't get like cryptosporidium or something. I'm mispronouncing that. Cryptosporidia, other viruses that go through there, which are a lot more rare than bacteria that can affect your gut and stuff. So you're purifying that water, and that is totally drinkable. It's just an extra precaution.
Right.
But, you know, you can take water that's supposedly not potable as long as you boil it. You need to boil it for like 10 minutes. Look it up. It's actually 3.5, but they recommend it, you know, with the volume that people can do in their pots would be about 10 minutes to boil that.
and then it's purified because that heat's going to obviously kill the bacteria and the viruses. So that's the differences on that one.
Right.
But how much water should you store? If you're going for 3 days, 4 gallons per person.
Yeah. And then if you have pets, you've also got to remember how much water your pets are going to drink.
Yeah, I always feel like I'm watering my dogs.
Yes. Somebody is a big
Pinky
drinker.
proud.
Chewy just drinks so much water, man. That dog he'll drink a gallon of water a day. That dog drinks all of the dog's other dogs' water all the time. So yes, it's 100%.
Yep.
Have to think about your pets. Yeah.
This is why we love Curtis. Filtering gets rid of physical contaminants. Purifying eliminates biological contaminants. Yes, that's the greatest accurate way to put that.
And then he had another tip too earlier about having some other way to cook your food. Because like my brother had a propane barbecue and my mom still had a camping stove that she could use because her stove was electric. So, if like if the power went out here, I would be okay because my cooking stove is a gas stove, assuming that the gas lines are good. But yeah, have another way to cook food. And because my mom was sitting going, I have a whole chest freezer full of food, but I can't use any of it because it was stuff that was brought in from the garden or raw meat, stuff that, you can't really cook easily on a camp stove. She goes, I got a whole freezer full of food that I can't cook. So make sure that you buy canned stuff, dried stuff, dehydrated stuff. Try not to buy a whole, 50-pound bag of noodles because you're going to need extra water for that. But, look online at all these things because they weren't prepared because it was the Blue Ridge. They were not prepared for a hurricane. And,
So,
and things like that, there's so much sadness there. But there's only 1% to 2% of the people there had flood insurance because like I don't live in a flood zone, but if we get a good big rain up here, my house could flood. And their houses, some of their houses got full of water. Some of them floated down off the river. So check your insurance on your house. Check what is advised for your area for like wildfire or earthquake or flood. And then also one of the articles that I found interesting was people are in that area are upset because they don't feel that they're getting the full amount from FEMA for their house. But what has happened is nobody kept up their property taxes, the worth of their house. So they're like, hey, it says, I'm living in my dad's house that he built in 1960, for, we'll say $10,000. I only got to pay property tax on $10,000 worth. Well, that's all well and good. But then if something like this happens and your house ends 3 miles down the river, FEMA's going to look at their property taxes and see what your house and your property was worth. And that's what you're going to get offered. So it goes, beyond just food and emergency supplies, first aid kits, because you don't know if you can reach 911. So make sure you got first aid kits. It's like them. They couldn't reach 911 because nobody could call 911.
Yeah. Well, one thing that Maya was saying that they have an electric stove. So Maya, so I know Maya is Asian. So you know how there's those little stoves? They're like single burner propanes. You put the little things in the camp. They're not really a camping stove, but they're like a little thing you could do like a little walk on. It's like a little, like I literally see them at the Asian markets all the time. They're like a barbecue thing where you can take it outside and cook. Like it's a little propane stove. It's a single burning propane stove that you can boil things and cook things on. And if you're using that in your kitchen, you can always have one of those available and have several of those little fuel things aside just to have like something in case your electricity goes out. You do have a way to cook food and take care of things like boiling water if you need to is something you probably should have.
If you live in an apartment where rooms at a premium, that's definitely great. I mean, a lot of times with us, we've got an old 2-burner Coleman. We work with scouts and camping equipment. We could set up a headquarters, but an old 2-burner and those propane cylinders. The thing is, depending on how much you want to do it, is people who are not familiar with those stoves are going to overuse extending that propane is going to last longer than it actually does. Those 1-gallon propane cylinders. If that's a couple, you're looking at 2 to 3 days reliably. Or you're only using it twice a day, you don't have to use it for lunch. But if you start looking at like purification and whatnot for water that make it drinkable, you're looking at a lot more resources. I actually would talk to a friend about this fairly recently, is that they're recommending for like 3 days, minimal use, but keep a 5-gallon container. You can actually buy 3-gallon reusable propane containers, and California's about to outlaw single-use propane containers anyways.
Right.
And so, maybe keeping that 3, which is an unusual size for a reusable propane cylinder, but they're out there. But keeping that 5-gallon for that, and a small stove that can serve those dual purpose, like an old 2-burner Coleman, even backpacking stoves, but even that isobutane, if you're having to feed a family, that's going to be used up fast.
Mm-hmm.
Grilling does work great, but if you have that potable water, you're not having to drop from that supply, and that's going to extend your fuel use out. So it's those kind of factors to think of to weigh against it, because you're dealing with limited supply for a somewhat unknown amount of time that you have to survive like that until help and resupply start coming in. And I think somebody mentioned earlier, practice with this stuff.
And then Curtis has a good point. Make sure there's enough air circulation.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And you're using those little propane stoves, so make sure you either use it outside, or if you're using it inside, make sure you have the windows open.
Pop open a window, a door.
Or have like the fan up top on.
Yep.
So you make sure you have some air circulation. I think that's really a good thing.
Yeah, because when was it? A couple of years ago when they had that deep freeze in Texas, and Texas lost power because they have their own contained state grid. There were a number of people who died because it was so cold. They had no electricity, they had no gas, they couldn't heat their houses, and they were trying to do like open fires, fireplaces, stoves, gas stoves, charcoal, grills. And people died because they did not have adequate ventilation in their house.
And it's not knowing, they're not used to be able to have a fire or something like that. And they don't think about that, because people it used to be common knowledge, but if you don't know, because you're always in the city like that, you don't think about that stuff because you've never had to before.
Yeah.
I just wanted to bring it up. So right now we have about 15 minutes left, and I wanted to talk about my portion of my show.
Oh, cool, yeah.
I'm not trying to I don't want to devalue what's been talked about, because Wendy, what you said is really important. So flooding, there's so many different types of emergency preparedness everyone should really look into. Yes, 100% floods can happen anywhere. You never know. So definitely try to, I think that it's very important for everyone to kind of take a look at their own emergency plan for their homes. And just after the show tomorrow, kind of take in what you learned tonight, and actually tomorrow try to make just kind of a plan, and kind of just think about yourself and your home and your safety and what you have to be safe at your home, so that you can be prepared a bit. One of the reasons why I definitely was on board for this was that on Wednesday night, I was on the phone. On Wednesday night, I was on the phone with my friend, and let me prepare this so I can show you. I was on the phone with my friend, talking with my friend, and I heard the dogs barking, and thought that was a little weird because they usually don't bark in the evening. And then on top of them barking, I saw a weird color outside, which I thought that was weird. And I heard some weird sounds outside, which I thought was weird. So I said, this is strange enough. I'm going to go outside and take a look. And I saw this outside my house, which is quite alarming. This was the first photo of what I saw. It's pretty terrifying to see right across the street, my neighbor's house fully on fire. It was really scary. Never in my lifetime would I expect to see something like this. So like I said, it's kind of like, try to be as prepared as possible. Like I said, when before the show, I was like telling James, I'm just going to put in Chat GPT and see what should I do if my neighbor's house is on fire. Okay. So, and then this is maybe to be a little fun, right? So I have another tab prepared so we can take a look and see what our Chat GPT says, right? Let's see here, because I actually prepared it. Okay, so if you look at this, it says, when you walk outside and across the street, you see your neighbor's, let's see, I'm going to arrow it across. You see your neighbor's garage on fire. What do you do? Let's see what it says. It says, ensure you're safe. Maintain a safe distance to avoid smoke inhalation. This is a very good thing. We did get a little close and I was coughing for hours and I still have been feeling a little bit of smoke inhalation. I called 911. It was really hard to call 911 because I was freaking out and I was trying to be as calm as possible. But and I was calling 911. My husband was going to the house and trying to spray our water hose onto the garage to try to stop the fire, which it says try to avoid extinguishing the fire. And I started trying to call my neighbors because I was worried they were inside the house. Because the way where the fire was, it was definitely hard for us to go to the front of their house to go and tell them. That for us was really hard because, like I said, we were not. Oh, it's not even showing you. It popped to a new window. It was. So, I mean, I was able to finally get a hold of them. Apparently, someone had knocked on their door and told them to leave the house because it was on fire. And they were able to get one of their dogs out. The other dog ran out the door, and they were able to get their other dog later. And my Dan was just spraying the house with our hose. And when the fire trucks came, they started spraying it much better, obviously, with real fire hose. But I think it probably somewhat helped. I don't know. But I mean, it was the firemen did thank Dan for trying to help. I mean, he did try a little bit. I mean, it could have helped. I don't know. But he did keep a distance. He wasn't like right on top of the fire where he could be in danger. But it was a moment before the fire trucks did show up, actually. It was probably about like 10 minutes before they showed up. So it was, so there is a little bit of time before the fire trucks come. They are not there right away, which is kind of scary. Let's see, I have another picture. I can show you the. See, this is when they finally. Actually, I think the picture just showed you that was before they were there. That was when the fire truck was there. Actually, I have another picture with. Let's see. But yeah, so basically, I was able to get a hold of my neighbors. And I went and talked to them afterwards, and they couldn't believe it. And I was actually really surprised how quickly it went up. I mean, you can see right here, this is one of the sheds this is The garage is really on fire right now, but this is one shed that was totally demolished. This shed was on fire and totally dead. It was totally gone. And this was the garage and the ADU. And see all these are all fire. This is all fire bits. And I was
Yeah.
worried. Once the firefighters were there, I turned the sprinklers on because I was worried about them coming, the embers coming onto our yard and setting our house on fire.
Well,
So I was telling.
you know what? Let's look at this and see in case of a house fire, because this is another disaster emergency preparedness that a person can do in case there's a house fire. What can we do? Obviously, you may be able to, your house may be totaled on there, but what can a person do prepare in case there is a fire and they lose a majority of their home and their possessions are lost on that? What can they do to kind of, cover their butts on this end? There's obviously safeguarding personal documents, emergency money supply, which we touched on earlier in the show, is having enough that Wendy was talking about. Having enough for a certain amount to be able to survive, maybe getting having to get a hotel room or something like that.
Yeah.
But what is some other stuff? I mean, can we chat GPT or whatever? What can we? What can person do for a fire?
I have a document that I created.
Mm-hmm.
So this is an idea of, this is preparing for an emergency, like a house fire. Okay. You're going to involve planning, practicing, and equipping yourself and your family with the knowledge and tools to act quickly and safely. And here are the key steps. Create a fire escape plan. Identify your exits. At least know 2 ways out of every room. It's typically a door and a window. The escape route. Clear pathways to exits. Avoid clutter in hallways. Have a meeting point. Choose a safe spot outside, like a neighbor's house or a tree, or where everyone can meet after escaping. Install and maintain safety equipment. Have smoke alarms. Have fire extinguishers, carbon monoxide detectors. For smoke alarms, another thing is you really want to know that there's a lot of the smoke alarms have a combination of the carbon monoxide together. So that's actually really good. And the fire extinguishers, they also have the fire blankets. That's another thing that is something to keep an eye out for, because if you have like a kitchen fire, you could have a fire blanket and just put it on top of the fire in the kitchen. That's another thing that might be a really good thing to have. Practice fire drills at your home. Practice nighttime drills. Okay. And then also, if you have pets, you need to also have a plan of what you're going to do for your pets. Like what Wendy's saying, make sure you know where your kennels are, make sure you have kennels prepared for them, make sure you have your dog leashes, make sure you have your different things you need for your pets available, and just have to-go bags for them, just in case. Actually, after this whole situation, I have 100% decided I'm not prepared. If anything happens, if something was to happen, I am not prepared. So I want to be prepared. That basically is something that really put something in me from dealing and thinking about that,
The vulnerability.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's just like medication for, you and your pets. Because with my folks, again,
Medication.
they didn't think electricity was going to be out for 10 days, for 3 weeks. So they only, at the beginning, they could only go to the hospital and get 10 days worth of medication at a time.
Mm-hmm.
But they had to go to the hospital in town, put in for 10 days worth of medication, and then go back to town, which is probably about 20 miles ish. Make 2 trips in 2 days to go get, when gas stations, weren't quite open or there wasn't a good supply of gas. So, you want to make sure you've got your medication, you've got your prescriptions, if nothing else, for you and your pets.
So here it says emergency applies to prepare a bag of a go bag. Copies of important documents, medications, first aid kit, flashlights, batteries, water, snacks, emergency contact list, pet supplies. See, we were talking about food, water, carriers.
Right.
And then that probably should have money in it, just in case you have to have cash, like what you were saying. That's very important.
Change of clothes, basic resources, even little travel supplies you get from like
toiletries
or toiletry stuff you get for travel supplies. When you get done, I want to show Kelly Jill's comment.
Yeah.
Are you
Yeah.
done? Okay.
Yeah.
Look at Kelly Joe's comment right here. Red Cross puts you up in a hotel for a couple of weeks, gives you a voucher to buy clothes at thrift stores. I've had my house on fire before. We had to live without electricity for 6 months through the summer with 3 teenagers, no fridge, shower by candlelight, stuff like that. So, and she's got a follow-up comment right here. Part of my house was shut off from the fire. Emergency services like Red Cross on individual things like that, especially maybe in some people that may be a little more disadvantaged than others, the Red Cross will cover that. And it's nice, but you cannot depend on that for the immediate needs after an earthquake, a fire, stuff like that.
Yeah.
Your house caught on fire, that's a follow-up resource on that one, which is what they did for Kelly Joe's freaking amazing.
Yeah. But like, with my folks, Hurricane Katrina, wildfires here in California and other places, when it's that widespread, when you've got, because there were 20 counties affected in Western North Carolina, there were a lot of people, a majority of the people lost their house, or they couldn't go back into their house because it was full of mud or water, or it just wasn't there. And then you had all the emergency folks coming in because they had, luckily, they got this set up well somewhere, somehow. But there were electrical linemen coming in all the way from Canada within days. So, all the first responders have to have a place to stay as well. So when it's widespread, you can't, Red Cross will try, but they got overwhelmed. I mean, they only had two refuge centers in the county for this that were set up for this. And then they had to find a way to make more because so many people needed a place to stay. Because a week after the hurricane hit, it snowed. So it got cold fast. And, for individual, emergencies, by all means, call Red Cross, call your county, get the resources that are there for us to use in these emergencies. And don't be afraid to use them. Because there's people, back there in Western North Carolina that not really afraid, but they're like, well, I don't need to use these resources. Those resources are there for you. When people start donating and supplies start coming in, use them. That's what they're there for. Don't be afraid and sit at home or live in your car if you don't need to. Because like Kelly Joe said, they'll set you up with a hotel room.
Yeah. All this calls back to is, that's the secondary resources mentioned, is that she says they're good to help as other residents as well. Definitely. You want to definitely have a good neighbors like Svea's to her neighbor. It's freaking amazing. We're at the end of the show right now. I did mention it, but because we're at the end of the show, I'm not going to show up. But FEMA.gov does have a emergency preparedness checklist.
Can you put that list on the check?
I actually have it ready to go.
Okay.
So I'm posting the link now for folks for you to go over, and it's a PDF you can download. Hopefully that link pops up. If not, you'll have to copy paste it. But
James,
wow,
okay, go ahead.
It is what it is. So get it as it is. It's not coming as a link, but follow that. That'll take you to the
link. No, it should be a link. It should be a link.
Okay, it's really long.
It's okay.
Anyway, but click on that. You can download the PDF file. It is very well done. I've been perusing it a little bit through the show. So check that out. Otherwise, remember to be, practice to be a victim. Train yourself to be a victim and to help yourself to be your own hero on this one. And as mentioned, here we go. Help your neighbor be us and know how to do it. And then remember this.
Can you look at your cell phone really quick? I sent you a quick question. I didn't want to ask on air. Just say yes or no.
Is it a Facebook message?
No, it's a text message.
I don't have a text from you.
You don't?
Nope. We're having a private conversation texting during the show. We're so naughty.
We're naughty. We're secretive.
Hold on a second.
Today it's 11 o'clock.
I know. I just sent it on Facebook.
Okay, I'm looking at it. Oh, hell yes.
Okay. All right.
Don't
I just
even
wanted
ask
to
me
make
that.
sure.
Talk
I just
about it
wanted to
later.
make sure because I didn't want to be that person without asking. Okay, so I'm
all the
putting
time.
into another link. Is the link, right? Yeah. Oh, you know what? Hold on a second. Oh, let me
Did
go
you
here.
do an oopsie?
No, I did it. I did the link, but let me click the link actually right
Okay.
now.
Well, remember, through all this, through all the emergencies, we still got to remember, don't forget the toilet paper.
Yeah.
This is better. This is better. Hold on a second. This is
Okay.
better.
I would say if you don't have toilet paper, you can use the Sears and Roebuck catalog, but we don't even have that anymore.
Okay,
See what
this is
happens when the
better.
world goes paperless? We run out of
Right.
TP, alternate TP sources.
Okay, this is better. Okay, this is better. Okay, so this link, this is the actual one. Okay, so my neighbors, when you click this link, if you feel that you want to read about my awesome neighbors, okay, so there's some information that needs to be updated on there. They found their 2 tortoises alive. On the link, it does say they lost their tortoises. They were found in the garage alive. Somehow they survived. As far as the last time I talked to my neighbor, they were found survived. They found survived. So that's the one update from the GoFundMe. I don't know if they updated it last, but when it was written, they were told they were gone. But my neighbors are the most kind people that anyone could ask for as neighbors. When we first were looking at where we moved to and where we bought our house, they were the first people that actually came up to us and introduced themselves and actually talked to us and actually came up to us and were like, "Are you guys going to be the new people that are moving in?" And they were just so kind to us, like from the very moment we were even at our house. And they have been nothing the whole time we've lived here. They have been nothing but been the most kind people in the world.
I want your
And
neighbors.
they are the most kind neighbors. And the guy, his name's Rip, like, R.I.P. It's
Not like
like
Rip from
Rip,
Yellowstone, right?
like Rip Van Winkle. Okay. Rip, he actually volunteers just like James, and he does archery camps. He does a lot of work with the church and just does a whole bunch of stuff, volunteer work for like counseling, and does a whole bunch of stuff on his own time, and just does a whole bunch of just his own community work. And it's so just like, he's just a very good person. Like, it just made me sad just because all of the stuff that he lost was stuff that he uses for that. So imagine James losing all of his fleet of kayaks and
Yeah.
all the stuff he needs to use. Like that's the stuff that he lost. So anyway.
Imagine Svea, who lost the ability to appreciate or see the color purple.
Right.
Right.
That's a jaw dropper.
Or even like, yeah. So anyway, but just, they're really great people. And so I've just been really looking after them and just annoying them with text messages, asking them if they've had food and I've
I
been
don't think annoying
pestering them.
I think blessing them, and knowing that they're awesome people and they're cared for.
Yeah, I've been just checking on them because I just know that it's just, I can't even imagine going through losing all that stuff, and they're losing that and then having to go deal with that, and it's just terrible. I just cannot believe that. And so anyway, that's just, they're just wonderful people. And so anyway, if you read the link, you'll see what I'm talking about. That is genuinely, they're wonderful people. So anyway.
Curtis says, or use the phone book.
Yeah.
They still have to get that legally. That could be a lot of TP. And you can find out where to get your plumbing.
Oh yeah. Well, do you have a phone book still, Curtis?
All right. Where did you get one? Was it on the black market?
Do they still make those? Wait, what?
Yeah, legally have to.
Is that for how old is that phone book? Is it from like last century?
Yeah, but the problem is they're making them smaller because mine, they used to be like 8.5 by 11, and now mine's down to like almost a 5 by 7, and I'm like, I'm getting too old to be reading this small of a print.
Remember they used to be like 4 or 5 inches thick.
Yes, you used them to sit at the table when you couldn't reach the table.
I remember you used to put your phone on top of them. You stack like 4 or 5 of them to make your phone taller.
Or bodybuilders would sit there and go, take the phone book, go,
Yeah.
Let's rip a phone book in half, bodybuilder.
Yeah. Just remember, if you have to be out in nature because you ran out of toilet paper, do not use leaves of 3.
Leaves of 3 will make you difficult to pee, for one.
Leaves of 3 would be like poison ivy or poison sumac, and not bueno.
Yeah,
No.
it would not be fun. Not fun.
Yeah.
Some pom-poms ain't that good either. Or use the phone book. Oh, wait. I remember the phone books. I would sit on them when I was learning to drive. Nice.
Nice.
Yeah.
You have phone books tied to your feet, too? Oh, that would be brakes. Phone books are too damn heavy.
That's funny.
Okay, we're 6 minutes over time.
Yeah. Okay, guys. Well, please take a moment to kind of take an inventory of what you have and spend some time and try to get your plan together. It doesn't have to be overnight, but just try to just have some preparedness or some plan of, having yourself together and just some preparatory stuff. Not saying you have to go and be a doomsdayer or whatever, you don't have to do that. It's just have some stuff prepared so that you have, if you are in an emergency situation, you do have some backup. I think that's a really good idea. And there probably is some kind of corner or nook. If you don't have a lot of storage space, there probably is some corner or nook that you can kind of keep some secret stuff like hidden, like under your bed, or like, if you don't have, I'm sure there's some place you can store some stuff if you don't have a place for
Yeah,
it.
behind the couch.
Yeah.
Just know where behind the couch, under the bed,
Yeah.
wherever you've got space, because it's important. Because if they can't get to you, you got to, it's like they learned there, they got to depend on themselves and their neighbors.
Yeah. As James drops all of the stuff in the back.
Right.
I dropped, I was eating dinner before the show started, and I actually dropped a dinner plate and a fork. It's Jupiter. Is it Jupiter?
So,
No, it's Mercury.
Okay.
We're gonna have to message him a
They're my
first aid
space
kit.
planes.
Okay, guys. All right. Well, thank you guys for watching our show. We hope that we might have broadened your horizons of
I definitely want to know. Sorry. I definitely know from this show is I want a neighbor like Svea and an advocate like Wendy. If stuff goes down big time.
So I'm gonna move in next to Svea, so you know where to come.
Yeah,
Okay,
and
be my neighbor.
Wendy, show what you're showing you with the safety vest and the hard hat.
Yep.
Yeah.
And the checker, the clipboard.
And the safety clipboard with a pen.
Is the pen attached?
Tool belt with a hammer.
Oh, nice.
Always prepared.
Nice. Good.
Got it.
All right, everyone. That's been another night of late night craft talk.
Yep. Next week's show, we're bringing it back. We're doing potpourri.
We're gonna do our show that we're gonna do tonight. We're gonna do it next week.
Potpourri or potpourri, whatever you want. All right, folks. This has been Late Night Craft Talk. See you next week. Always awesome.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Dance, y'all. Wait, come on. Open. Let me reload it.
Reload.
Working on it.
Loading.
Okay.
Loading.
There we go.
Oh, ain't he cute?
Oh, you like him, Svea. You know it.
No.
Yes.
No.
Dirty nose and a yes is still a yes. Good night, folks.
No.
Yes.
Hi, Roland.
Yes, yes. Yes, yes, yes.
No.